Well, Mahlako Komane caught up with 3 generations of the Thwala family in Mpumalanga to get their reflections on democracy and freedom.
3 generations of Thwala men, Isaac Thwala, his son Joseph and grandson Sizwe, born 30 years apart. The older of the group was born in 1934 on the family farm in Mpumalanga. Isaac Thwala has lived through colonial rule, apartheid, and has seen the birth of democracy. His reflection on the past 25 years are filled with biblical metaphors.
Democracy has been good to us in some instances because we are like the children of Israel who left Egypt for the promised land. In apartheid, I was unable to further my studies because we stayed in the farms and schools were far from us. I also had to work for 7 years before I was allowed to stay and own a house in the township.
Isaac's son Joseph was born in 1955, the year in which the Freedom Charter was adopted. And 7 years after the National Party came to power and entrenched its apartheid policies.
We are the people
Our generation was the one who felt the wrath of the apartheid. But after 1994, there was change, but the ruling political party lost the plot. They did things that only saw a few benefiting from this democracy. If you look at the townships, there are few millionaires. 80% of people in the townships are struggling and are poor.
Now at Chega, we've got millionaires today, but very few.
The youngest of the Thwalas, Sizwe, was 9 at the time of the first democratic election. He was born in 1985, a turbulent year in South African politics, marked by mass protests against apartheid, to which the then government responded with a state of emergency, detentions and bannings. Sizwe has lived most of his life in a democratic South Africa.
We did get a better education.
We did get a better education. The life that my elders didn't get, we got it. We have been able to live and study with white South Africans. But as you grow up, the effects of apartheid began to catch up with you.
We are free.
The Thwalas owned a farm in Kingros, Mpumalanga, before apartheid was introduced. They were forced off their land. The old man Isaac had to seek employment as a bus driver in present-day Mbalenhle. So the issue of land cuts deep in this family.
If we want to be rich,
If we got the farm push 1994, we were the descendants of our parents. We could have done something better with it. There's no wealth without land. We are paying huge amounts of money for these small stands here.
It will teach us more about our roots.
There's no escaping the coming elections.
Even if we have a new party that will rule this country, that won't mean anything unless South Africans change their way of thinking, because right now, everyone is looking what government can do for them.
My wish is that the party that lead us out of slavery must continue to rule, because already they are knee-deep in plundering resources, so it would not be wise to start a new party that will also start from scratch.
The Thwalas are typical of the generational mix in many families and their diverse views on our country and its history. Mahlako Komane, SABC News, Johannesburg.